All right. Well, we'll go ahead and begin today's ceremony, and we'll start, of course, with the is this on? JROTC presentation of colors. All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found,
Thank you, Ms. Pacelli. This time, I'd just like to welcome and thank everyone for taking the time. Welcome to honor the memorial and bench dedication of Mr. Steve Droullard. Mr. Steve Droullard was a former counselor and forever will be a member of our East Union family, in our hearts and in the very foundation of East Union ideals. Mr. Droullard worked at our site as a counselor from 1986 until his retirement in 2011. Even after his retirement, Mr. Droullard often donated his time to ensure scholarship and success to many students within the Manteca Unified School District as they continue to pursue post-secondary achievement, lifelong learning, and the students of East Union was certainly his passion. We would like to thank the Droullard family, Ms. Kristen Meeks, as they continue his legacy by continuing to provide the Steve Droullard Scholarship in his name to many deserving students here at East Union. However, today, we would like to thank a former East Union alumni, Ms. Jessica McGregor, whose life was so impacted by Mr. Droullard and all that he did to support her, that she immediately sent a request to donate the bench we stand before today in his honor. In the words of Ms. McGregor, who also sent the memorial gifts that we all have in our possession of the ribbons today, she eloquently stated, "Mr. Droullard believed in me when no one else did. I didn't have a dad growing up, and he stepped in as a father figure. It was because of him I became a first-generation college student, too. He was a positive influence in my life and helped me through difficult times. It's an honor to have the opportunity to donate this bench in his honor." Thank you, Ms. McGregor, and all of you who gave your time to be here today as we honor Mr. Steve Droullard and all that he has done and will continue to do for East Union. At this time, go ahead and want to welcome Ms. Kristen Meeks.
So I'm emotional. My dad was emotional. We'll see what I can say. Thank you for honoring my dad, Steve Droullard. My name is Kristen Meeks. And I am Steve's daughter. I used to get that a lot. Oh, you're Steve's daughter. It happens a lot when you teach in the same district as your dad. My dad loved working at East Union. He found his home here. He touched thousands of lives. He connected with students through laughter by dressing up as Santa, the Easter Bunny, Cupid, and a leprechaun, to name a few. Once he surprised my husband and I at our house to test out his Cupid costume. He arrived in full Cupid gear on my doorstep, not knowing we had company over. It didn't bother him at all, and he pranced around my living room in tights with bow and arrow. Right before his retirement, he performed at the faculty variety show. He and a colleague dressed up as Sonny and Cher. He found humor to be an excellent way of creating relationships with students. He also helped students get through some of the toughest times of their lives. He helped them get into colleges, earn scholarships, and even guide them on their chosen life path. The stories that his former students and colleagues have shared with us are touching and an amazing tribute to my dad. He had a way of connecting with students that went beyond most educators. My family and I thank you so much for this bench dedication. To know that future generations can have a place to sit and find comfort brings us joy and happiness. Thank you for giving him this honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Meeks. At this time, would like to thank and welcome Ms. Marilyn Legere, who worked for a while with Mr. Droullard and was also part of the planning of the bench dedication. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Marilyn Legier. I graduated from East Union in 2013. Woohoo! 2 years after Steve. I actually have 2 speeches. This one is from Jessica Gonzalez McGregor. She sent it to me this morning. But this one is me. I met Steve Droullard in August 1986. How would I possibly remember that? It was the day that we assigned our official contracts to work for Manteca Unified. Wonder of wonders, we were at the same school, and Steve made such an impression on me. Why? Well, for starters, he completely forgot to bring a pen to sign his contract, and I had to loan him one of mine. I knew we were destined for great things. Steve and I clicked instantly. He was much crazier than I was, or am, and he was up for antics all the time. I can't begin to think of how many times that Steve convinced me to change an office that I used in the counseling center until he finally had the largest office of all, and I was relegated to a small space in the library. He would come into my classroom and we would sing, Just Because. And who will ever forget Mr. and Mrs. Claus, or the Easter Bunny, or the Leprechaun, or Cupid, or the Great Pumpkin, or Sunny, to my share. I only wish that we had made a big fat turkey costume for him. We shared knee replacement stories because he took the plunge and he got his first one done before I did. And the students, they loved Mr. Droullard. He cared about the students. He cared about how they were doing, how they were surviving. He found homes for some of them. He would help students out with a dress or a suit to wear to a dance. I chaperoned with Kim Ray all the time, and I would see how proud he was of his kids at the dances. He helped keep kids out of gang life and onto a successful path. He helped students get into college and stay in college. That was his job, and he took it to heart. I especially want Kristen and her brother Kevin to know that he loved his own real family with his whole heart. He was so proud of each of you, and we heard all about the graduations from high school, from college, the jobs, the marriages, the children, and of course, Jeannie, your mom and his wife. I want to thank Jessica Gonzalez McGregor for providing this memorial bench for Mr. Droullard. It means a lot that she, one of Steve's students, wanted to do this for him. Those students down the road will not know Mr. Droullard. They will see this bench and they'll think about the fact that this must have been one special counselor because he's got a special bench. He was, and he always will be. And the tub of the tub of Costco red vines, have a red vine in memory of Steve, because there was always a tub of those in his office, lid off, for anyone who needed a pick-me-up during the day. And I did bring gloves so we won't have, COVID passing hands. Would you like me to read Jessica's now? Okay. Jessica lives in Idaho. She was planning on coming to this, but it did not work out. So she wrote something and asked me to read it. Hello, my name is Jessica Gonzalez McGregor, and I graduated East Union in 2004. I would like to start off by thanking Principal Mora for giving me the opportunity to donate this bench in honor of Mr. Droullard. Regrettably, I am not able to attend the dedication ceremony. However, I am happy to have my former English teacher from EU and one of Drouillard's best friends speak on my behalf. When I heard of Mr. Drouillard's passing in April, I was one of many former students who wrote kind words of appreciation for all his great work as a guidance counselor. However, a simple paragraph of gratitude on Facebook didn't feel sufficient for a man who dedicated over 30 years of his life as an educator and changed the lives of many students. I first met Mr. Droullard when I was in 8th grade. He interviewed me for Avid. Well, he did not pick me. In fact, he seemed annoyed at my apathy toward being recommended for English honors, to which he grumbled, "Do you even care?" And I replied, "No." I didn't realize at that moment that the man sitting across from me would forever change my life. Mr. Droullard was the first person who ever believed in me. He took me out of remedial classes. He placed me in college prep. He motivated me to achieve more, and he made the dream of college a reality. It was a volatile 4 years, but he never gave up on me. At the end of my term here at East Union, he accomplished his goal of turning me into what he called a student, and he made me a much better person too. I remember getting an email from Droullard my freshman year at CSU East Bay. He said I was a little fart and that he missed me, and some days he thought he saw me walking around campus and that he didn't know if it was a dream or a nightmare. That was classic Droullard. He had a wonderful sense of humor. In fact, if he were here right now, I am sure he would call me a dolt for donating a bench for him. Dolt was one of his silly little nicknames for me. He had a playful and fun personality. I remember him dressing up as Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, and who could forget his Cupid outfit with the bow and arrow that he would shoot at students. Most of all, I remember Steve Droullard for his big heart. He loved his students as if they were his own kids. He even stepped in as a father figure for students from single-parent households. He was the warmest and kindest man I have ever known. He gave the biggest bear hugs, and somehow he instinctively knew just when to give them. He could always brighten up your day. We all know Mr. Droullard loved music. In fact, I remember being in his office, and after he told me he was a music major at Fresno State, he pulled out his guitar and began singing to me. Stephen Droullard will forever hold a special place in my heart, and I will always love and appreciate him.
Thank you, Ms. Legere, for bringing to life for the students who didn't know Mr. Droullard. I was fortunate to meet him a couple of times on the scholarship committee, but obviously he meant a lot to people on our campus and will do so for a very long time. Thank you, Ms. Ray. I'd like to thank Clara Schmid for coming, Director of Secondary Ed, also Bob Lee, former administrator here from Manteca Unified, and all the teachers and people that came and support this time. I'd like to release the balloons and thank the students for your time in honoring Mr. Droullard. And we have a selection of songs that will be playing some of Mr. Droulard's favorite hits. I don't know if we call them hits when it's proper music, but thank you all for coming. Students.
Ave Maria.
The only thing we gave you, well, not the shirt off the back of the jacket, which was the sleeve, or, because it was a golf tournament, I had to raise it up.
I'll just take it.
Or I can use your phone. We had a house with a pool and everything's good. No kidding, right? Upsize the yard, we upsized the house, and I thought, okay, not her house, that's my bedroom, she said, put it on the market. I was looking
L'amore son oiseau rebelle qu'on nous a bien préservé. Et c'est bien que l'on l'appelle si le convient de refuser. Rends-nous fermes dans son prière, lui parle bien l'autre c'était. Et c'est foule que l'on profière, la nuit rediff, mais il plaît. L'amour, 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 l'amour est sans fond de bohème. Il n'a jamais connu le toi. Si tu n'es mouvement, j'ai belé. Si j'ai tout regardé à toi. Si tu n'aimes pas, si tu n'aimes, je t'aimais. Mais si je t'aime, regarde à toi.
I didn't see the special told us a year ago.
Do you want me to hold anything? It's all tablet. Okay. One thing that tablet, it does have very, except for it's right up. Then it's fine. Yeah.
I posted on it, and I actually had two different students. Oh, I'm so not singing.
painting. Yeah. He sounded like quite a person. This one, no, she's in her late 20s. Oh, I know.